I always wanted to add a press to my tool collection, so I bought a Harbor Freight 20-ton press, and I upgraded it with the air hydraulic jack. So far I like everything about it, except for the cradle that the jack sits on that has the ram. It's real wobbly. I added these tubes to stabilize the jack. The press that I used to use at work had those stabilizer tubes on it, but it was a much more expensive press. I ordered a piece of 30-inch seamless tubing that's got a 3/4 inch inside diameter. My plan is to cut it in half so I'll have a 15-inch stabilizer on each side of the jack. I'm going to machine a 3/4 inch solid bar to fit inside the tubing. I happen to have a round 1-inch bar in my scrap pile. I'll cut two pieces 20 inches long. The extra length will give me enough room to chuck it in the lathe so I can turn it down to 3/4 of an inch. While I'm hogging off some of the material, I'll keep the bar lubricated in front of the follower. Now that I'm at the point where I only need to take off a couple of thousandths of an inch, I'm using the vertical shear method with high-speed steel. Next, I'll drill and tap one end of the rod for a 7/16 14 bolt. I remove the cradle that the jack sits on the press, and I'm going to use the DRO to find the center. Before I removed the cradle from the press, I marked the location where I wanted to put the stabilizer tube. So I'll use the DRO to measure the distance from the hole where the eye bolt goes for the spring to the mark. Next, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch annular cutter to cut a 3/4 inch hole for the solid rod. Next, I'll spot drill for the 7/16 bolt that's going to go in the bottom of the solid rod. I almost forgot that I need to put parallels under the cradle so I don't drill into the base of my vise. So I'll use my vise stop so I don't lose the location for the hole. So now I can drill the 7/16 hole for the bolt. So jumping ahead in the video, you can see how the 3/4 inch rod fits real snug through that 3/4 inch hole, and then it's bolted in the bottom with the 7/16 bolt. Next, I cut 2 pieces of 1/4 inch flat plate, 3 inches wide and 8 inches long. This will be the plate that's welded to the hollow tube. I'm using the edge finder and the DRO to find the exact center of the plate. I'm going to cut a 3/4 inch hole in the center of the plate, and I'll show why later on in the video. Next, I'll drill 4 3/8 holes in all 4 corners. clamped a 3/4 inch bolt in the vise. That was the purpose of the 3/4 inch hole in the plate, so I'll use the bolt to help align the hollow tube. I decided that 4 mounting holes was going to be overkill, so I just did 2 bolts caddy corner from each other. So that makes it nice and sturdy, so now I need to test and make sure that it doesn't bind up when I'm using the press. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out compared to how it was before. I happen to have some bearings that need to be removed from a shaft, so this will be a good test to see how it works. I'm happy with the way the stabilizers turned out, and thanks for watching the video.